Welcome back to Five Friday Feedback. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you had a chance to go back and listen to Monday's episode on the top 5 money lies people tell themselves. So in today's episode, we're going to be recapping that. Viewer mailbag, win of the week, just like normal. So let's go ahead and start out with what was number 1. I'm just bad with money. What do you think about that one, Dom?
Oh man, the age old, it's not my fault. I'm just bad with money. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Yes, it is your fault. I tell you this right now. You got to take some accountability for your actions. Listen, it's not fun, but sometimes you got to take accountability. This is one of those scenarios, and especially in today's modern society, we love to place blame on everyone else but ourselves. But what we've kind of learned from different books that I know that both of us have read, like Extreme Ownership, stuff from Jocko Willink, really, that it's so important to take ownership of everything that's in your world. And by saying, hey man, I'm just bad with money. Right? I believe that it's not a bad thing to say that I'm just bad with money. The just is a little bit, placing blame a little bit. It's okay to say I'm bad with money, right? It's okay to admit these things. I think it's great. I think we can agree that it's great to admit things that are honest, right? And truthful, right? Right? I'm not good at deadlifts. This is true. This is accurate, right? But let's improve it, right? Let's improve it. Let's see, how can we improve being better with money? Well, listening to a financial podcast, that's a great start, right? Picking up some books on it, maybe taking some classes, some courses, and really just immersing yourself in the sphere of finance. Chris, what do you think?
I think you hit the nail on the head. It comes down to, yes, there might be a problem. Yes, something might be true. Maybe you aren't good at something, and lying to yourself and saying, no, I am good at something, like trying to manifest it into existence, often doesn't work. But what we do know works is, yes, there is a problem. And what am I going to do about it? I think there's too many people right now who are going through life. Oh, I'm bad with money. Oh, the economy. Oh, tariffs, all this stuff. All of those things are true. And what are you going to do about it? Like I told in that story from Monday's episode, someone can go through life and be like, hey, people are going to try to hold you back because of the color of your skin, the way that you talk, that you're a male, you're a female, whatever it is. People are going to try to stop you. And what you can say to that is, okay, then I might as well not try. Or you can say, okay, they can try to stop me. I'm going to become so good that they can't stop me. So the only question that matters is, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to relent and say, I guess it is what it is? Or are you going to push? Are you going to keep on driving? You're going to try to become a better person so that they can't hold you back, whoever the magical they is.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the funny thing is you can just create enemies in your mind to fuel you to get better. Right? They don't have to have a name. They don't have to be real, right? They can be anything. I think that's what's so interesting about it. Number 2 was, I'll save more and invest more when I make more. I think that's probably, I hate to say this, but a lot of these are very popular, but I think that one might be one of the more popular ones, especially in today's society. I know, it's such a consumer focused economy these days, everything from the TikTok shop to what's new at Target, right? We're always blasted with something new to spend our money on because we don't want to get left out, right? And, there's such a deeper play around that, right? But if you're not good with $100, you're not going to be good with $1,000. You're not good with 1,000, you're going to be good with 10,000, right? So you kind of have to build up that muscle to be good with a little so you can get a lot, right? The world doesn't reward you for being a bad manager with your money, right? Nobody's going to come and give you a medal, be like, hey, congratulations, you're in $200,000 worth of debt. Proud of you. No, nobody will ever say that, right? Unless it's good debt. And that's a whole nother conversation for a different podcast. That's way too in-depth. For right now, consumer-wise, for a consumer sense, all debt, bad debt. From a consumer sense. But yeah, that's a whole other podcast, a whole other rabbit hole. What do you have to say about this one, Chris?
I think it's that magic when. I will do this when. And it's just an excuse to not do it. And it's really hard because it's a conundrum of every single day you want to live it like it's your last day, right? So I want to go to sleep feeling that if I don't wake up tomorrow, that I have done enough to feel like I'm satisfied with that. And if you live every day like it's your last day, you're never going to save money. You're not going to go to the gym. You're not going to try to better yourself. So it's holding these two competing narratives in our head that I want to leave each day the best way that I can. And today is not my last day. So I think it's hard for people to square those two thoughts because we want to go to an extreme, but it's hard for us to say like, yes, both things are true. I can invest more in the future. Sure. But every time we've done that, think about yourself. Oh, I'm going to start working out tomorrow. I will do this tomorrow. I'll save money tomorrow. It's kind of like going to one of those, I don't know, there's a brewery near my house that has free beer tomorrow. There's a sign that says free beer tomorrow.
That's so
And
funny.
then,
That's so funny. It never changes.
It never changes. People might come back tomorrow and be like, well, tomorrow, like I thought it was free beer. Like, oh no, that's actually tomorrow. It's the exact same thing we do with ourselves. I will do this when. Until you decide that like when isn't coming, eventually isn't coming. I need to do it right now. And eventually is coming. So again, it's a conundrum. It's hard to square those two things.
Yeah. No, I think that one genius business practice, also really annoying, you know, for someone who's not like growing and like, you know, in the know of like personal development, psychology, and like just becoming more. That's the most annoying thing in the world. But for someone who's in on it, I love that. That's pretty good. No, I couldn't agree more. You know, the other day, it was a busy day, just chaos, right? Didn't get a chance to work out. And today was like, this is the day I work out, right? This is the plan I'm on. This is when I'm supposed to work out. And I was like, you know, I could wake up early tomorrow, work out, podcast, and then do the rest of the stuff and then stream later. But I'm like, you know, of course I can work out tomorrow, but I'm supposed to work out today. And if I want to work out tomorrow, then work out tomorrow. But today is when we're supposed to work out. So at like, no joke, at like 10:30, 10:40, I went to the gym. Thankfully, my gym's 24 hours. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like you said, do today as if tomorrow doesn't exist. And that's one of my top 10 current Chris Monzon favorite quotes. So that's one of my favorites. But yeah, so that was number 2. I'll save and invest more when I make more. Got to start today, boys and girls. Got to start today. Number 3. It's too late for me. It's too late for me. I'm done. I'm finished. You know, I'm only in my mid-20s. It's over for me. I don't have a yacht. I'm not a crypto bro. I missed out on the Doge coins. I missed out on all of them. I was going to reference some other coins, but I better not. So, and that's an inside joke for you guys. But Chris, what do we have to say about this one? It's too late for me. Where do you hear this one most?
I hear it from everyone all around. I mean, I think even like a majority of our viewer mailbags are this. Is it too late for me is always the question. I think today's viewer mailbag is the exact same.
Probably.
Is it too late for me? It's never too late to get started. That's what I have to say. I think too many people, they look at the end result. Is it too late for me to finish? I don't know. It may be too late for you to finish, but will you be in a better place than you are currently? If you decide like, I want to run an ultra marathon, even if you don't complete that ultra marathon, but you went through the pain cave, you tried your best, you will come out a better person. If you go into jiu-jitsu and you're like, I'm not going to stop until I'm a black belt, and you only get to brown belt, the entire journey, the entire way of getting there is going to make you a better person. Same with going on a hike. Same with anything. When you go on a hike and you're like, I remember I did a hike. It was called Bear Mountain in Sedona. We went on and we thought like, we're going to go to the end. And we kept on going. And it was fall summit after fall summit after fall summit. And the sun just kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And we're like, we're going to make it to the end. And as we're making it, trying to get to the end, and eventually we said like, we can't make it to the end because we had a dog with us. Like we didn't bring enough water because we're dumb. That didn't mean that the hike was worthless. We have a great story, great memories. We all got a workout in. It was fun to suffer together. And it's the exact same thing for your journey of financial independence. You might never reach financial independence. You might not. And every step along the journey to get you there, you will be in a better financial situation. I cannot think of anybody I've ever met in my entire time who has started pursuing financial independence, started spending less than they made, who said like, you know what, Chris, I have this extra $10,000 that I have for an emergency fund, and I just hate it. Like I hate having this, you know, now when I have this emergency, my car blew out a tire, and I went into my bank account and I had money there to pay for it. And that's just awful. You might not never reach financial independence, but every step along the journey, you are in a better place. Sometimes you take steps back, but at least you're in a different place than you currently are. sitting there lamenting what you have.
I think that's awesome. I think that's super powerful. Number 4, you've heard it all your life. Maybe you're still hearing it. Money is evil. Maybe you even believe it. Maybe you've bought into it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe we're all wrong. Maybe there is no unified truth. But number 4 says that money is evil and wanting more makes me greedy. This one, this one's been slammed down our throats probably for all of time. And I think the culture around money in America, at least, makes money seem evil, makes the rich seem evil. They've been painted as evil, right? And maybe some of them are, right? I think there's evil in all walks of life, but money, what you have to understand, and what most people don't figure, is that money is just a tool. Money only amplifies them. If they were an evil guy before, well, guess what? They're going to be an even more evil guy once they have more money. But the same is true for good people, right? There's plenty of good people who are rich that do great things with their money. How do you kind of reteach yourself that money isn't the root of all evil? Because I know some people say that the lack of money is the root of all evil. I don't believe that either. But what's your thoughts on this one, Chris?
I think it all depends on where you set your aim. If you set money as the highest goal, attaining more money, then you'll never actually be satisfied. And you're always going to be chasing after this false god. And that end of trying to just acquire more will lead you down some pretty dark paths, because just trying to acquire more and more and more, you have to start subjugating your morals to do that. But if you realize that money is just a tool, just like I'm not going to go ahead and start acquiring more pens or more hammers or more screwdrivers just because I want to be a better carpenter. That's not going to help me in any way, shape, or form. It's the same thing with money. You have to figure out what is enough for you, and maybe even beyond what is enough, what is good, what's going to serve me and help me with my life and help other people. Money isn't the root of all evil. Money is just a tool. But if you set money as the highest order, you will become evil in trying to only pursue that one thing rather than pursuing substantially more, which I believe is what life is about. Not just pursuing one thing, but pursuing all things.
Yeah, I would agree. If you worship it, it's going to become evil, right? That's kind of my thought process.
I think
Number
that's where
5.
it comes from. I think that's where, like, even from the Bible, it comes from. It doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It's worship of money is the root of all evil. Because if you're supposed to worship the one true God, and whatever that is for you is different from each person. But if you're putting money at the highest order, then you're not going to be pursuing whatever your values are. Mm-hmm. So it's all about what you want to set your aim as. And number 5, can you give us that one, Dominic?
Absolutely. People like me don't get rich. People like me don't get rich. Now, this can be an identity-based one, right? This can be based on maybe what neighborhood you grew up in, what ethnicity you are, maybe what sex you are, right? Could be a lot of things, right? This, how do we get around this one? Because this one kind of they all break my heart, but this one is one that gets installed early, and it's something that carries, right? And it can have detrimental effects. And not just on, people like me can't get rich, but it seems like this would be the type of thing that would be installed that would kind of destroy your self-esteem as a whole, not just money, but if you wanted to succeed in any part of your life. Well, people like me don't have long-lasting marriages. People like me don't have great careers. People like me can't get fit. It's kind of the ground zero for a terrible mindset. How do we even start to shift that? What are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's the same thing that I say for everything. You have to question it. You have to at least ask, like, whose voice is that? Is it my mom's voice? Is it my grandma's voice, grandpa's voice? This is where that idea of like generational trauma comes in, right? And I know that some people hear that and they think it's like a woo-woo concept, but it's true. If someone, right now, today, you, Dominic, myself, we are impacted by what our great grandfathers did. By them going through life, having a child impacted your great grandfather, their grandfather, your dad, and now yourself. And you will impact them. You'll impact your kids the same way. So what you do in life echoes in eternity is probably one of the best quotes from Gladiator, right? What we do in life echoes in eternity. So you have to go through life realizing that the things that you do are going to make a huge impact. And some people can come in and get installed from birth, not from what you're taught, because you come into this world basically a blank slate. Yeah, there's a little bit of nature, a little bit of nurture. We'll call it 50-50. But you come in, humans, the reason we are so amazing, you find this on every part of the world, minus like inside of active volcanoes or in the Marianas Trench. And at one point, James Cameron was in the Marianas Trench, so you can find us basically anywhere, is because of how adaptable we are, how much we have the ability to change. But if you come into this world because someone told you, someone believed 10 generations ago that we can't do this, and they continue to purvey that to every single kid, and now you got it, and you have this installed in you, you can either go with that and say like, okay, this is not for me, and you're going to continue to live the life that everyone before you has, or you can be the person that's going to break the chain and say, I'm going to be that change. I'm going to go through the hard times in order for the future generations to be able to look back to me and be like, wow, that was the guy or the gal that changed our family's trajectory, our society's trajectory, by them going and doing the hard work, by not saying people like us don't change, people like us aren't this, but by going out into the forest and becoming that change, becoming the change they want to see in the world.
Yeah. My dad, he loves giving me these absolutely cringy quotes. And I'm going to drop one on you guys because I feel like it has power, but it's cringy. And he loves giving me like advice that's like from like 2006, it feels like. But he's like, if you don't come from a rich family's got to come from you. And I'm just like, yeah, they're cringy comments. But it's true. And maybe it's because it's from my dad. So it's like, maybe it's the cringe level is increased. But it's true though, right? You can be that pillar. You can be that rock for your family. You can make the deciding factor that's like, listen, it's going to be very difficult. My own family is going to go against me. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to see it. They're not going to want you to do it, but you got to do it anyway. And it's tough. It's tough when you're trying to help someone and they're fighting you all along the way, telling you can't do it. I haven't been there personally, but I understand it can be very difficult, right? But there's great solace in doing something that's for the good of your people, the good of your family, the good of your friends, your community. And that's why we always say like, a big enough why can bear any how, right? If your why is, well, listen, I want to make sure that my family, they can be put in a great spot in 5 years, 10 years, right? They don't have to worry. Well, that's a pretty strong why that can bear almost any how. But you're going to have a lot of mindset shifts. And this isn't just for someone who wants to get their family out, but for everybody. I mean, we always need to question everything and question how it serves us. And if you don't have the right mindset shift, if you don't have the right lens, you're kind of seeing things through, you're just going to make life 10 times, 50 times, a million times worse. We talk about it often on the podcast, the benefits of seeing things through a gratitude mindset, right? And I know the word gratitude has really been corrupted over the years but to us, Chris and I, no matter what's going on in your life, things can always be worse. And I don't say that to make you bummed. It's like, oh, fuck, well, why do anything? I could have a heart attack right now. It's like, well, screw it. Might as well just go 130 down the highway. It's like, doesn't matter anyways. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Do not do that. Be safe, be legal, be good citizens. But, when you get into a fender bender, it's like, man, that sucks. I'm glad I wasn't, murdered on the highway in a different situation, right? I'm glad that, hey, dude, you know how cool it is to have two eyes and a nose? When you think you don't have anything to be grateful for, I promise you, you have something to be grateful for. There's always someone in a worse situation than you are today. And you just got to keep that front and center, honestly. If you've ever been in a hospital and you walk up and down the halls and you're just quiet because this is a place of healing and medicine and you feel the weight of that place, don't forget that place, right? Keep it with you. I kind of went off on a little bit of a rant there, and we're cutting into the main. Listen, we're cutting into my favorite time of the week. Chris, do you have any final thoughts on the recap from Monday's episode before we re-roll into our mailbag?
No, the only thing I'm going to say is when those lies come up and you actually have the propensity to notice that you're telling yourself something that may not be true, ask yourself, whose voice is that? And is that voice serving me today? Because you need to be able to question yourself, question the things you believe are true. Because maybe if you're lucky, you'll find out that those truths are actually lies. And rather than fighting against it and being like, no, I couldn't have been wrong this whole time, just accept, wow, how lucky am I that I get to learn at this age that I was wrong about something, rather than going to the time of my death, rather than being some person who's 90 years old, still thinking that I don't know, whatever, that dinosaurs aren't real, or that whatever they want to believe. Like, how lucky are we that you get to find that out right now? And with that, I say we move on to viewer mailbag.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we could have been born in any era. We were born in this era. And I know you watch the news, it's like, wow, this sucks. World War III, it's like everything's going, it's like, dude, bro, go back 100 years. That sucks. 1925? No, thank you, bro. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Anyway, so this is our portion of the podcast where we call it Five Friday Feedback Viewer Mailbag. It's where one of the viewers of the community writes into us either on email or on our website, and we pick a letter out of the bunch and we read it out and see if we can give them some advice. So for today's viewer mailbag, drowning in debt and doubt, is financial independence still possible? Now we picked this one for a reason, because number 5, or not number 5, number 3, is it too late for me? Is it still possible? Right? Like Chris said, I think on Monday, this is like the most common question we get. Like, is it still possible? Can I still have a dream? Is there life after this debt? Can it be possible? Yeah, it's possible. So let's get right into it. Howdy, Fi Guys. I don't know how else to say this. I am in crisis mode. I am 30 years old and my husband is 31. We had our first baby this year, and ever since she arrived, I've been spiraling. I look at her tiny little face and I feel enormous pressure to give her a better future. That's when the panic hits. We're hardworking people. We've done all the right things, in quotations. Got degrees, landed decent jobs, but we're buried under a mountain of debt that feels impossible to climb. Between credit cards, cars, and student loans, including $220,000 from my husband's expenses, credit cards, my husband's expensive law school, gotcha, yes, law school is quite expensive, and $40,000 of my own master's program, understandable. We're staring down a number so big, it makes me want to vomit. A very natural response, honestly.
Yeah.
A very natural and very common response. Okay. We owe about $13,000 in credit card debt, and we're hustling to pay $1,200 a month towards it. Our cars still carry about $10,000 in debt, and those student loans, well, they've been in forbearance for years. Thankfully, interest-free. Very good. But they haunt us every single day. They feel like they're ghosts sitting on the corner of every conversation about our future. We can't even think about buying a home or having another child, not with the weight crushing us. Right now, I'm staying at home with my daughter till she turns 1. Then I will return to work part-time. My husband, who makes $140,000 plus a bonus totaling around $168,000. And while that might sound like a lot to some, it barely feels like a life raft in the oceans of obligations. Nice. Our goal is to be debt-free by 40. That gives us 10 years. It feels pathetic to admit that this is the best case scenario, but honestly, all we can hope for right now. But it's all that we can hope for right now. The only plan we have is to keep tackling it piece by piece. Credit cards first, my loans, then his. But I feel like we're trying to dig out of the Grand Canyon with a plastic spoon. Good Arizona reference. I like that. We want out of this life of fear and limitation. We want the freedom to dream again, to imagine a home, more children, or even just a break from the financial tension that keeps us up every night. I'm writing because I'm desperate for some perspective. Is there still hope? Is this climb even possible for us? Or Is it just too far gone? Interesting. Thanks for all that you do. I love your honesty, your heart, and your no nonsense advice. I need a dose of all three right now. From scraping by, but still reaching high, because I'm drowning in debt, but I'm not done yet. Love that. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. We got two 30-year-olds making some good chunk of cheese with a large debt looming over them. Where should we start with this one, Chris?
Yeah, this one hits me pretty hard because I relate to it so much. Like I understand the fear, I understand the frustration, I also understand the love for the child. And like for me, like this person has a child. Like I don't even have my child, and like everything that I'm doing is for a future child. So I get that. I also want to just talk before we even go into all this, how crazy it is that we have a system in which people want to have kids, but they can't. Not because of their inability to make kids, but because of financial constraints. And we have a government right now that's like, oh, hey, how about this? We'll give you $6,000 one time to have a baby, as if that makes up for like the mountains of debt that we're all in because we went to school like these people did to better our lives. Because without going to school, we were told that we were going to be freaking on the sides of the streets. Insane how much we have taken care of one group of people at the expense of our youth, at the expense of our generation. And that's not to sit here and complain and just bitch and say like, well, so we shouldn't even try. There's still the most important part. And what are you going to do about it? This is the situation we find ourselves in. What are you going to do about it? So to our listener, you're not broke. You're not lost. You're just stuck in debt's heavy, heavy clutches.
Yes.
It sounds like you have a cash flow trap. And I promise you, there is a way out. This is not going to be the final time. You continue to grow. You might never reach financial independence. You might never reach nirvana. And this is the important part. Nirvana isn't real. Happy ever after isn't real. The journey is the only thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And on this journey of getting better, you will be in a better place every step of the way. Occasionally, there will be steps back. You'll take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's true. And you are still moving forward. Now, before I run the math and everything, Dominic, what do you have to say about this one?
No, I think it's nice starting out with a message of hope. I think that's a beautiful way to frame the conversation, right? Especially when we start, we're about to get into the numbers of it, the weeds of it all. No, I think it's a sad place in our society where it's like it costs so much just to be better from a professional standpoint, right? And we do need more kids in this life. We do need more humans on the planet. I know some people think that we're overpopulated. Some people think we're underpopulated, right? But no, I think they're not done yet. They got a bright future ahead of them. They just have to get through a little bit of the weeds first. So I'm anxious to hear what you have to say on the numbers aspect.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you have your baby girl and that gives you a strong why. And like Viktor Frankl said, a strong enough why can bear anyhow. And that's from somebody who went through 5 different concentration camps to make it out to see his wife and kids who on the other side weren't there. So you can make it through some pretty hard things as long as you're doing it with the right aim, with the right intention, with the right values driving you. And I can't think of a stronger value than the children that you're going to leave to this world. So when you say you have 168,000 roughly in income, let's say that's $10,000 a month net after taxes. So where is all that going? Because $13,000 of credit card debt doesn't come out of nowhere, and it's not going to last forever. So are you currently spending $10,000 a month on home, eating out, everything? It's going to be the first thing that I say to pretty much everyone. And this is where we start with majority of people. Where's the money going? You know how much money is coming in. That's really good. This is something crazy. About 50% of people that I talk with, maybe 60, have zero idea how much money they make. They just give me these crazy ass numbers that are off the top of their head. They'll say ranges of like, I think it's like 50 to 100. Okay. And it's like, okay, that's a really big range. And what you can do at 50K and what you can do at 100K are 2 very different things. If you want to go on a trip, like even on a vacation, a few $1,000s is going to make a very big very big on like, should I go on this trip or not? So you need to know how much money you're coming in. And luckily, there's an easy way to do that. The IRS basically forces you to do it every single year. How much money did you come so that they can take their taxes from you? So that's a good way to get started is how much money are you making? You know that information. Now you have to find out the harder information. How much money are you spending? And is it going to places that are going to help you? Because you need to make sure that majority of the money right now is going at least that credit card debt. The student loans, the car payments, the home loans, I don't know what the interest rates are on those. That's something that can wait. So let's go ahead and create maybe a roadmap just to have a little bit of a plan in place to at least show you that there's hope. So let's say you have $13,000 in credit cards, you get $10,000 a month. I don't know what your expenses are. This is the hard thing. But I know that you said that it's going to take you 10 years to pay it off. I say we shoot for the moon and say, let's try to pay it off in 5 years.
Yeah.
And if you end up short of that, you end up at 7 years. Hey, it's better than nothing. Shoot for the moon. And if you miss, you'll be amongst the stars, suffocating in the cold embrace of space. So credit cards, I would say give it 6 months. 6 months of putting everything you possibly can at it. Any extra money, you're not going out to eat. You're not going out for fun movie nights. You're just staying in your, home with the kid. Husband's going to work. You're just buckle down time. Credit cards to me is like a hair on fire situation. With credit cards, there's a lot of times where I'll say like, okay, we want to invest and we want to pay off debt. If it's like mortgage, if it's student loans, if it's low interest rates, if it's something like credit cards, 15, 20, 30% interest rates, you're not going to outpace that with investing unless you know what the future holds. And if you do, then give me a call and let me know what's going to happen tomorrow because I would love some insider information. So credit card, 6 months. Next, you want to work on the cars. Then you want to work on your loans. Let's say that takes you 2 years. Then his loans, I don't know how long that's going to take. Maybe another 2 years, 3 years, maybe. And then from there, that's going to help take off so much stress. Another thing to think about with your student loans. Did you take out private student loans or federal student loans? Because I'm going to guess, based off you saying they're in forbearance and not accruing interest, they are federal student loans. So $220,000 is a big chunk of change. Can your husband, since he's in the law field, can he pursue something like PSLF, the Public Student Forgiveness Waiver? Can he pursue something like that by working in a field for 10 years? Maybe he's already working in a field and just isn't aware of it. That could be up for forgiveness at the end of 10 years of working in that field. Or can he be in like a repay or repayee program in which you can stay within the program making minimum payments for 20 to 25 years, at which point whatever is still accrued on that loan will be forgiven. We've done student loan podcasts before where I've gone through all of these at length. So I'd recommend going back and listening to those if none of that made sense to you. But there are ways to look at your debt and handle it smarter. Not right, not wrong, just smarter. This is the most important thing when it comes to debt. Contrary to popular belief, debt is not a moral failure. It's a math problem. Shame won't help pay off the loan, only action will. Shame does not help you create more action. It just takes you down, makes you feel depressed, and makes you feel, why should I even take action? You need to start working. You need to figure out what that value is to you. And for me, it sounds like you have one in your child. So from our listener, no, it's not too late. You're 30 years old. And at least you're thinking about it right now. Because there are so many people who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, who are just now waking up and trying to figure it out. How lucky are you that you're only in your 30s and you're now trying to figure out how can I get this because of this little baby that's sitting in the crib, because I want to be home with them, because I want to give them the best life. Sometimes those big moments, death, child, moving, divorce, loss of a job, is the moment that we need to reflect, to wake up, to say, I want to make that change and I'm going to be the change that I want to see in this world. So to our viewer, you got this. We believe in you. And I want to hear from you in 6 months with an update as to what's going on, and we'll read it on air because that would be pretty cool.
Very cool. That'd be amazing. Well, I hope that helps. I hope you take action, and I hope that this is a kind of a telltale, sign for everybody. Make sure to pay attention to your finances and really believe in yourself and understand that, one of the things that you said, Chris, that I just want to touch on real quick that was really inspiring. They had a goal of 10 years. And you said, you know what? Let's shoot for the moon. Let's do it in 5. Let's shoot for 5, right? And the idea of that is so interesting because it's going to force them. It's like, well, only have half the time now. We gotta double down even harder, right? I love that. I love that. Um, and if you don't get it, you'll still be even closer, right? So shoot for the moon. Even if you don't hit the moon, still be amongst the stars. Love that. But with that being said, thank you for writing in. We appreciate you. And like Chris said, we hope to hear from you in about 6 months or so. So thank you. Next, we're going to be moving on to our win of the week. Chris, what do you have for your win of the week?
So my wife actually just left back to Phoenix today or yesterday, last night, which is kind of sucky that we're like, I'm in San Diego, she's still there, but like this is life. Sometimes in life things aren't perfect. You know, my wife's gonna come out and be with me here like another month and a week. But for right now, we're kind of in that moment. But yesterday, before I took her to the airport and everything, we got to take the dogs and we got our new paddle boards. We went out to Carlsbad, went to the lagoon, put the dogs on the paddle boards for the first time. When we went out and we paddle boarded around the lagoon with the dogs. So that was just such a fun experience to be able to be home in San Diego, be able to enjoy the beautiful weather, the beautiful water. And, you know, the dogs actually did pretty darn well on the paddleboard. We have life vests for them because we used to be near Lake Pleasant in Phoenix. So we got them life vests. So it's pretty funny to like a lot of my bigger Australian Shepherd was like crying a lot. She kept on like jumping off of the boat to try to get to her sister and her mom on the other paddleboard. So I had to like grab her, pick her back up to the board. Took them about 20 minutes before they finally settled down. And then by the end of it, they were sitting like in between my feet. I was able to actually stand up on the paddleboard. I didn't fall once. They fell a few times. But yeah, it was just super fun. So I'm really glad to be home
That's
back in San Diego and getting to get out and do some of the fun stuff that I've just missed being in Arizona.
I love that. I love that so, so much. That sounds like a very beautiful memory. And the way you said it just now, I'm glad to be home. It's like it warms my heart because you're from, you're from that area. Your family's all from that area, and I'm glad to see you're having a great time out there. That means a lot to me. For my win of the week is, as you know, I'm always on the search to upgrade, kind of get further, get a little bit more. And I started obviously continuing apply to different jobs, and there was this job that popped up, and I was like a little bit nervous applying for it. Salary is like 10 times more than what I make now. Maybe not 10 times, but it's much more, right? And the job title is big, right? And I have experience in this field, right? But this is like, if my limit is like right here, it's like right outside my capabilities, right? But I always believe that you should put yourself in situations where you are a little bit nervous, a little bit scared, right? A little bit fearful to take on that opportunity, right? And I saw the job come up, told my dad about it. And this was my first mistake. I shouldn't have told him about it. And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. He's like, you know what you should do? You should print out your resume and go in. And I'm like, that's terrible. That's a horrible idea. And this was like at like 9 a.m. And I'm just like, so sometimes we'll do like 2 calls a day, at least 1 a day. And I was like, man, I don't want to be here on this call at like 7 at night and be like, how did it go? And I'll be like, I didn't do it. I cowered out. Like I got scared. So I was like, damn it. So through my resume in ChatGPT, I took like the job task and everything. And I was like, make it so it like looks nice. And like, I always try to make a custom resume for each job, right? It's all me still. There's no fluff in it, right? There's no BS in it. But I like to, fine tune it, right? If I had a vegan come to my house, obviously I'd make something special for them, right? So that's how I do it. And I cooked up a resume. It took me about an hour, and I already had my resume cooked. So it tells you how detailed I went into it. And I submitted it. I went to UPS. I printed it off. I wore like my dress to the nines, as they say. Looked real good. I looked real good. And, I went in. I introduced myself. And it went very well. They were very warm, very welcoming. And then she's like, well, I'll pass it to the guys and we'll let you know. And I'm like, all good. Thank you. Appreciate it. In my mind, I'm like, I'm not qualified. Like, this is above me. So I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm just shooting shots. I'm shooting shots. I'm just trying to get shots on goal. There we go. Later that night, I actually get a message through Indeed. They're like, hey, your resume kind of caught our eye. We appreciate you coming in today. Could you take this personality test as we continue to move forward in this stage? I'm like, let's freaking go. Because I don't know if, I mean, Chris, I'm sure you know about this. A lot of people know about this, but like, you're sending resumes out on Indeed and you're just hearing nothing. It's darkness. So to hear something back from something I thought was out of my reach, I mean, it's not a job offer or anything like that. I'm not expecting anything crazy, but it's hope. It's a little bit of hope, but it's a reminder that just because there's a little reach out, don't start dreaming. Don't start visualizing. Don't get your hopes
Don't start
up.
spending.
Yeah, exactly. Don't start spending. I'm like, this is like double and a half of what I'm making now. I'm like, man, I'll put more in like this account, like, and I'll get this, finally be able to like do this. And like all these things, I'm like, Dom, stop. It's no different from when you're in high school and you see the pretty girl, you're like, man, I could see our whole life together. And you're like, and you go up to her and you're like, hi, and you're like voice cracked, and she's like, get away from me, fool. I was like, no, but our wedding, it's like, yeah. So don't get your hopes up, live in reality, but don't be afraid to dream, but also, stay hungry is the key. So that's kind of my win of the week. I know that was a very long one going over on the podcast time, but yeah, that's my win of the week. Sometimes I don't have great win of the weeks, but that one is my win of the week, and I'm very happy about it. So
it's cool, man. I'm really glad that you did that. That takes a lot of bravery. That's something that sets you apart from other people. I know that we've talked about doing that, like being the person that actually picks up the phone and calls somebody and say, hey, I'd love to come in and see what you guys do. I just applied. Like that means so much, because a lot of times, like I've done it before, where you put out applications and you get like, I shit you not, like hundreds of applications. You're like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't even know where to start. And then you get a phone call. Someone's like, hey, I just applied and I'd love to come meet you guys. You're like, well, there's somewhere to start. That's a starting point. Like, yeah, come on in. Like, I don't want to go through these 100. If you're cool, like I'd be happy to not do this. Yeah. So just, you have to think there's another human being on the other end. Unfortunately, maybe there's probably just another ChatGPT on the other end siphoning through it. But at the end, it's going to be a human being that makes the decision. So
100%.
I know we went over on time. Thank you so much to our viewer for writing in today. Thank you so much for joining us here on 5 Friday Feedback. If you got any value out of it, if you're stuck around this far and you have not hit that like button, if you're not subscribed, I don't know what we're doing in this world. So please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, but most importantly, tell somebody about the Fi Guys. Bring someone along for this journey of financial independence, because it's so much more fun to go with a friend than it is to go alone. Leave a comment down below as to what money lie you've noticed this week and what truth you've told yourself to overcome that. If you ever want to get featured on 5 Friday Feedback, please write it to us at the Fi Guys Video Podcast at gmail.com, or go to thefiguys.com and click on that feedback tab. More information, the better. But until next week, when we're going to start on, I'm going to say it, we're going to be redoing the Fi Crash Course starting next week. So I'm very excited. I am Chris. He is Dom. We're the Fi Guys. Later.
Peace.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the host and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.